as we sit down for our first game here, seems plenty reasonable. We've got Inquisition and Fatal Push for early interaction. We've got a copy of Serum Visions here as well. We've got a copy of Obzedat Ghost Council, which is a little bit clunky to try and cast on the line, but probably going to be a reasonable card. Opponent is on the play and trying to decide whether or not they are going to mulligan. They've gone to 6. We're going to go ahead and keep our hand, though. Their first main phase. Alright, there's a land. What do you got? Island, Aether Vial. Merfolk, maybe? Concealed Courtyard's a great draw. It means I get to go ahead and cast this Inquisition without taking any damage here. They are playing Merfolk. Okay. I think I want to just take the Silvergill Adept out of their hand. After my opponent mulliganed, I want to kind of cut them of any sort of card advantage they could possibly have to catch up. And if they get to, like, put the Silvergill into play and then, like, Phantasmal Image it, they can catch back up with some of the card disadvantage that they've generated from they've had from their mulligan. I draw 2-drop. Sure. So their hand right now is Harbinger and Phantasmal Image. So I'm actually just going to take this opportunity to cast this Collective Brutality because I know I am guaranteed to basically have it resolve and kill this. Their lords are often, once they get all multiple lords into play, they're going to be bigger than 2/2, and this Brutality won't be able to kill them. The question is, do I want to escalate it, discarding this to gain 2 life? We know we won't discard anything out of their hand because they have 2 non-instant, non-sorceries. I think we could reasonably just cast this down the line, so I'm going to cast this without escalation and just kill this guy. And then next turn we can go tapped land, Serum Visions, Fatal Push, depending on what our opponent presents. Yep. That's pretty good. It's going to let them Phantasmal Image this as well this turn. Definitely one of our opponent's better draws here. I added 2 dorks to the table here, and they haven't, didn't cost them any cards, so kind of pulled them out of their mulligan a little bit. Their Fatal Push is a good pickup for us, so we get to go ahead and Serum Visions to start here, see what we find. A Path and a Jace. Yeah, I think I want both of those, right? Let's go top. Jace is going to generate some card advantage for us. Let's give us some cycling ability and then also push some damage in. My opponent go ahead and attack here. This is only an opponent's creature, right? Yeah, tap creature and opponent controls. Alright. No blocks. And then I'm going to go ahead. Do I have any reason to push? I don't have anything that just targets willy-nilly, so I guess I'll push this one. They have like Spell Pierce that would guaranteed kill this one. Oh, I want to push this one because I can path this one next turn, and then my opponent won't get a land from the path because it'll die to the Phantasmal Image trigger rather than dying to the path, rather than being exiled by the path. So this is kind of an interesting decision. Do I want to crack this fetch and shuffle that Jace away? I think I do, probably. If I hit another land, I think that's fine. I don't think I want to lose the value on this scry. I'm going to go ahead and get Godless Shrine here, because my opponent's likely going to be spreading seizing us at some point, so I won't need extra blue, and I already have double blue here. Goryo's Vengeance and an Obzedat. So, I feel like I don't actually want either of these cards. I kind of just want to land for this. If I would have discarded the Obzedat earlier, we definitely would want this Goryo's Vengeance, so I'm just going to go ahead and go bottom here on these. And then in 2 turn cycles, next turn we can cast Gifts Ungiven, and then the following turn we can flashback Unburial Rites and put Iona or Elesh Norn into play, which will probably wrap the game up. Because this only returns a tapped creature, and Elesh Norn has Vigilance. Probably putting the Harbinger into play. Yep, just need to put pressure on the table. We look like Esper control so far, so they want to just kill us. I mean, we're basically an Esper control deck, right? And like an Esper control deck that's got like a Gifts kind of combo we finish. And again, let them attack here, because if they have a Lord, they're going to put it into play. I'd much rather kill a Lord than kill one of these 2 guys. Even if they don't Lord here, I'm just going to go ahead and path this to preserve my life total. Again, this is going to trigger to sacrifice it so they don't get a land, which is nice for us. And then we'll take 2 here. Jace, VP. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pass the turn here. We only need 4 mana to Gifts. And then we only need 4 mana to flashback on Burial Rites, so... Sure. Yep. I have 2 cards left here. Sometimes they have Spell Pierces in their main deck. This going up to 2 is actually good for us, because it means they can't surprise Curse Catcher us. If they hit a Lord here, we could be in a little bit of trouble. I guess they need double Lord, right? We're looking to dodge double Lord and Spell Pierce. Get Elesh Norn. Get Unburial Rites. Hit done. My opponent has to put both of these in my discard pile. I think they would have just countered the gifts here, so I'm just going to go for this. Yep. So long, fishes. If they have Phantasmal Image here, we could actually be in kind of an awkward spot. Echoing Truth. That's a weird main deck card. Huh. Actually better for us than Vapor Snag, I suppose. It's a shame we didn't draw... I guess if we would have drawn a land, we wouldn't have had this. But next turn we can go Inquisition, push Jace, and kind of get a feel for what's going on the other side of the table. Seven here. I don't know what exactly they could have in their hand at this point. Probably just like more interaction for things that can play to the board, right? Sure. They have 2 guys to put into play, or we could actually be in trouble. Okay, they don't. Just 1. Alright, let's put this out. I'm just going to go ahead and pass. Actually, I guess the conservative thing is just kill this, right? Yeah, I'm just going to be conservative and kill this. Now, because next turn I can flip this Jace and he can flashback Path to Exile and kill this Marrow Rejury. And then if my opponent draws a brick here, they're going to be in a real bad spot. I suppose also, depending on what they play out here, I could flashback the Collective Brutality and gain some life. Vapor Snag's pretty good. Untapped land would be great here, so we could play the Obzedat. Yeah, Lingering Souls will do. Let's block at least. Next turn we can flashback Souls plus play the Jace out. Unless we draw an untapped land and then Obzedat's going to get up in there. Unfortunately, if they draw a Lord, their guy's going to be unblockable, and then we're probably dead if we don't rip, so... No Lord, that's good for us. Hey, that's an untapped land for Obzedat. So, the Ghost Council here. I gotta make some more black mana. Whenever he comes into play, they lose 2 life and we gain 2 life. At the beginning of our end step, we can exile him, and then he'll come back next turn. So, yeah, 10 out of 10. Just gonna go ahead and return this to my hand at the end step with a, or exile it. Sorry. They have another Vapor Snag or something. Yep. Obzedat will give us some closing power here, which is nice. If they hit a Lord, we might still have a game. Especially if they hit, like, running Lords. Like, they play a Lord here, hit us for 3. Just Curse Catcher really doesn't matter. This lets them tap down one of our Dorkos, I guess. So then they can attack it and make us jump with this, but that's fine. Obzedat returns to play. They lose some life. Draw a copy of Duress. Doesn't really do much. I'm just going to go ahead and attack with this. If they draw Lord, we're not just dead, so... Attack with this. They have 1 card we don't know about. I'm going to go ahead and Duress them before we start making decisions, I think. Actually, I probably should have done this before I attacked. 2 bricks. Alright. Flash this back. Cast this Jace. Exile this Obzedat. You know, I should have counted before I attacked whether or not attacking with the Spirit changed the clock. I think I like leaving the extra blockers back, but... To say, like, they draw a non-Lord Merfolk here. They can't just diddle my Spirit, and then I can still double block here. So next turn, they're going to 9 from the Obzedat trigger. And then I can kill one of their guys with a Fatal Push, and then fire Creeping Tar Pit, plus attack with these guys in the sky. Start by looting here, see what we get. A land. I want to just bin the Inquisition here. This fetch land means I can Fatal Push the Mirror Reagery here, which is nice. So I now have Revolt. Kill that one. Do they hit Master of Waves? Must have, right? Yep. So I get 3 Dorkos. Go ahead and attack with this. So they're drawing to, like, another copy of Echoing Truth here, basically. So what do we have in our deck? Do we have anything that can be useful here with the gifts? I don't think so. Oh, even if they hit Echoing Truth, I have Creeping Tar Pit to block, and then Ghost Dad will just kill them on the backswing. So yeah, let's exile Ghost Dad, and then we should be good to go here. At the end of turn, if my opponent doesn't make us activate the Tar Pit and block, we can Gifts Ungiven for 4 lands, and then cast the Elesh Norn next turn. Opponent concedes. Supreme Verdict and Murderous Cut get to come in here. Disenchant might be okay. It's probably worth a fun of, because like sometimes their Spreading Seas can be annoying of cutting us off colors. What do I want to trim here? I don't actually think Iona's that good. Even though they're a mono blue deck, I think I'd rather just have an Elesh Norn to put into play. Well, I guess if I get them into a situation where like they don't have Vial, this could be really good. I don't actually know that any of our cards are that terrible in this matchup. It's probably safe to just cut the discard spells. Let's do this. Liliana the Veil isn't stellar, but just like as an extra thing that comes down and kills something, I think it's fine. We have Collective Brutality as like some discard and a way to kill some of their smaller threats, so I think we're gonna go with this plan. This matchup seems like it should be pretty good for us, especially post board when we have these Supreme Verdicts and a couple more pieces of spot removal. So this is a good example of a hand that's kind of a trap, right? Like, the hand has lands and spells, and the lands cast the spells, but like this collection of spells isn't particularly good in this matchup. Like if Murderous Cut was like a fatal push, I think this hand's like a fine keep, but like the fact that this hand just like really doesn't do anything, I think makes it a fine mulligan. So it's kind of mediocre, but I think it's a keep. So I'm gonna bottom that. Hopefully this Serum Visions can find us some action. It's kind of annoying, but not the end of the world. Play this out. Depending on what we draw, we might offer to let them Curse Kitcher the Serum Visions next turn. Just so like we can like trade this for their dork. Ghost Quarter, sure. Since we're not playing a Lord this turn, could have something like a Silver Gillette up, just straight nothing. Alright, well, yeah, because we didn't draw a land, I'm going to go ahead and play the Serum Visions. I'm not going to play the Jace out, because they have, like, Vapor Snag and Echoing Truth, so I really don't want that to happen to my Jace this turn. They could have a counterspell and just counter this. Lands into plenty of lands. Yeah, I think we're just going to go top here, right? I'm going to go top, and we'll leave myself the option to fetch away that Marsh Flats. If possible, we probably want to avoid fetching an island this game, especially since we have, like, Creeping Tar Pit as a blue source here. They're spreading, seizing their Ghost Quarter. Deal. That bodes well for us. So I think that they must have had a way to bounce a Jace that turn. Are they missing their land drop too? That would be so insane. They did. Okay, so I don't think I want to draw a 5th land right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And grab Godless Shrine again, so we don't have an island for them to island walk us. Let's just go ahead and play this Liliana the Veil and Edict this Curse Kitcher. It's going to be annoying at some point, right? I guess the downside to not fetching a blue source there is I can't go, like, Visions plus Jace next turn. So, like, maybe that's wrong. Could have gotten Hallowed Fountain, I suppose. Yep, new thing. I think we want to play Serum Visions here. Depends on what we draw. I'll lead on to Serum Visions, see what we find. Another land. Huh. Huh. Put the land on the bottom and put this Elesh Norn on the top. I'm going to play this. I'm going to plus this Liliana and discard an Unburial Rites. And I think I'm just going to pass the turn here as opposed to shuffling the Elesh Norn away. Because next turn... Oh, I guess they're just going to kill this Liliana the Veil, aren't they? So maybe that's not good enough. I was going to say, next turn we could draw the Elesh Norn and then discard it with this. Yeah, that's not good enough. I'm just going to go ahead and fetch our... I should have fetched an island last turn, I think. Because I had 2 blue spells in my hand. I'm going to grab the extra white source, that way when we draw Supreme Verdict, we can do some good work with it. So their dorks are going to be unblockable. We can Gifts Ungiven for a fistful of removal spells next turn, which would be nice. Oh, are we going to get the option to chump with this Jace? Man, we're going to get the option to chump with this Jace. I don't think I want to chump with this Jace. Yeah, I'm just gonna let Liliana die, I think, here. I guess the upside of, like, chumping there is, like, if I chump there, then Liliana gets to eat one of these, one of their dorks, which is nice. This guy, when he flips, gives a creature -2 power, so he can just, like, flip and uptick and keep this Lord in check, which is nice. They probably have more counter spells in their deck post-board against us. Man, Obzedat's a pretty good draw. I'm just gonna start by looting. Bin the spare Jace. Target that. I'm just gonna stick to Obzedat. I feel like a lot of their counter spells probably don't hit creatures. If Unified will. Yeah, it's annoying, but like not the end of the world. Another option there is like I could just like pass the turn and then like play into the counter spell if they're obviously holding up on their turn, so that way they don't get to use their mana for a full turn cycle. But I think I'd rather this resolve than the Obzedat, honestly. Ooh, that's really annoying. So this is probably gonna exile itself now. Yep. Alright, they're still pretty far behind here. Huh, that's a good draw. I think we're going to hold that for later. I'm just going to go ahead and cast Gifts Ungiven here. And now our Unburial Rites is gone because we binned it earlier, so this is just going to be a good quality value gift. So we'll get a Fatal Push, a Murderous Cut, a Go for the Throat, and a Path to Exile. So 2 of these removal spells go into our hand, and 2 of these removal spells go into our discard pile. Get ready to get ground out, opponent. And they gave us the 2 we can't cast, but I can go ahead and just Jace this Fatal Push here. And push their Lord of Atlantis off a cliff. And then next turn, we could just Jace removal spell and then replay a Jace, which sounds great. Kira's kind of annoying. Oh, Kira actually doesn't matter at all, right? Because now instead of cashing my Jason here, I can just go ahead and plus on here to get rid of the front half of this. And then just go ahead and Collective Brutality this. So this makes the first thing that targets your creatures get countered. And this is one of the kind of cute things about this deck, is that the Jace as a creature in play doesn't Planeswalker rule with your Jace as a Planeswalker, so both of these can exist simultaneously until this flips over. Sure. Another Ghost Dad. Alright, I think I want to just get max loots out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and target this Collective Brutality. And Brutality this. So that way it gets a card out of my discard pile. And I'll go ahead and I'll loot with this. If we hit an untapped land, I'm not actually sure what we're going to do. It's probably worth taking the untapped land so we can not only attack with the tar pit, but also be closer to casting this Elesh Norn. Opponent packs it in. They're pretty far behind. Alright. Thanks for watching the first match here, and stay tuned for some more action while we play some Modern with Esper or Goryo Gifts.